Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Hasbro exclusive Marvel Legends, the Hellfire Club. Today I'll be reviewing this set in the following categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once those scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if this set is a pass or a purchase. So disclaimer, my knowledge of the Hellfire Club comes from the 90s X-Men cartoon, and it has been decades since I've watched that. So if I get some things wrong, which I may, I'm going on the basic knowledge that I have of the Hellfire Club. Now, I don't focus on boxes. This itself is a cool box. Just want to show you that it's a sleeve around the bottom, which was taped. I removed my tape and this happened. Can you see? So for you inbox collectors, you may want to be careful. And it opens up like this, showing some fantastic art. I really like that. And then you have individual photos of the 4 members with a slight bio at the bottom. And you're able to remove, displaying the figures like so, and an excellent background. So for accessories, let's start to the left. So we get a whip that comes with the Selena / Jean Grey figure, I suppose, anyway. Now, I'm a bit far from these accessories, so I'm trying to get the camera to zoom. No bendy wire or anything in it. In addition to that, let's just move on to the guns just to get the weapons out of the way. And I really don't like these futuristic weapons. If I'm not mistaken, this one here came with Bishop. And then we receive a futuristic looking pistol, which I also do not like. In addition to that, let's take a look at some of the hands. So the Jean Grey figure comes with 3 pair of hands in total. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the hands. The White Queen comes with 2 pair of hands. And the other 2 characters both comes with hands that you can swap out. And they come with the metal hands that I think is for the Sebastian figure. Don't remember for sure, don't kill me if I'm wrong. You also get a Magneto helmet, which is way too soft for my liking. I would have liked some additional paint to be up here. Now, I understand why you get this accessory. I don't remember the entire backstory, but I know Magneto had something to do with White Queen at some point in the Hellfire Club storyline. You get a cowl for Wolverine. I have no idea why you get this piece. For those who know, please let me know. And moving on to the last 2 of the accessories, which are my favorite, you receive this book that I believe I'm holding upside down. And if you flip it to the other side, there are some inscriptions. You cannot read it, but I still think it's cool. I believe that this is the book that came with the Gray Beast figure. And last but not least, you receive the Selena head sculpt, which is painted fairly well. Not as good looking as some of the other female characters that I've seen, such as the White Queen. So for accessories, I don't feel that you get enough for 4 figures. In my opinion, for this special 4-pack, we should have gotten a different head sculpt for each figure. I feel we should have gotten some accessories that were relevant to the characters, such as some sort of diamond effect for the White Queen. So for overall accessories, I'm going to give the set a 6 out of 10. So for articulation, these are the same figures from toe to neck. I'm going to use Donald for the articulation portion as Sebastian has the ponytail, and he does not, so I'm assuming I'll get more range of movement from this guy. So he's able to look up about that much, which is very good. He's able to press his chin down. Head is able to turn a full 360 if you choose to, and you get some tilt and pivot, as well as the head shifts back and forth. The arm is able to extend up about that much. It's able to do a full 360 if you choose to. You do get an upper bicep cut in the coat right about there. The next point of rotation, thought it came here, is at the wrist, which is on a hinge, and it just moves from side to side. The arm is single. Arm is single jointed, bending in about that much. So with the torso, it's hard to tell if it's actually one solid piece because of the vest. And it looks like there's a cut in the torso, so I'm assuming that there's an upper and a lower portion, but it's restricted. So this is all you get: forward, backwards, as well as rotation. Zero pivot. The legs are able to move out about that much, able to kick forward about that much. Backwards, really none at all. You do have an uppercut in the thigh. Next point of rotation is down by the boot. Knees are double jointed, bending in about that much. So with the feet, it's able to go forward that much, backwards all the way, and you do get a good amount of pivot in and out, as well as this piece moves. So for articulation, that elbow is actually double jointed. The body moves particularly well. The issues are within the torso. That vest just completely restricts the movement. I would also like to see more range with that elbow, but given that the characters are wearing very tailored jackets, I can understand why it doesn't bend in that far. So for overall, wait a minute, I gotta score the ladies. So for these two characters, I will be giving them a 7 for articulation. So for articulation, both of our female characters share the same exact body, so I'll be using Jean Grey. So the head is able to look up about that far, which is exceptional. It's able to look all the way down. It does rotate, and you get a good amount of pivot, as well as it shifts forward and backwards. I'll use this arm, being that this one is a bit restricted. So the arm bends out this much unless you want to play with this plastic piece, into which you'll get, well, maybe no additional range. It's able to rotate a full 360 if you choose to. No upper bicep cut. Next point of rotation will be at the elbow. The elbow is single jointed, bending in a lot better than I thought. The hand is able to rotate, and it's on a hinge. So now with the torso, I don't know what's going on here because of this piece, but I think it's a singular torso. It's able to crunch forward about that much. Moving this backwards about that much. It does rotate. The legs kick out to the side about that much. Forward that much. Backwards barely any. No upper thigh cut. Double jointed, bending in about that much. The boot is able to go back that much, forward that much, and some weird pivot with the ankles. So for articulation, the head works phenomenal. There's a lack of articulation within the torso as well as the arms, and even in the legs. In my opinion, there's no reason that our female characters should be so far separated from our male characters to where it comes to articulation. I'll be giving Jean Grey a 5 out of 10, which would be a combined score of 6 for overall articulation for each character. So for design, let's first talk about the box. I think that's only fair because it's an exclusive. The box is brilliant. I like the black outside, but more importantly, just the layers to the inside, that self-portrait that you get, the opening flaps that have a brief display of the characters, and how all characters are essentially sat into clear plastics, which shows a very nice background. I truly like that. Now, aside from the box, let's focus on the figures. So I just want to take a quick look at this head sculpt, which I really like. going to play around with my lighting a little bit. So what I really like here is the expression on the face, sort of a turning into a grin expression, but what I truly love are the indents, impressions, the lines that are throughout the face. So you have a cliff chin here, some line work along the cheeks, which also follows up to the forehead. I really like that. First, I thought that this eye was a bit off-centered. It certainly may be, but it could be the color that's chosen. It's blue. The eyes are particularly small, almost as he's squinting. So maybe the eyes are not off. So looking at the hair itself, doesn't appear to be a wash. Sorry about that, went off camera. But the sculpt itself is particularly good. Now, what I do like about this figure is that Hasbro decided to give us some added details. Each of the buttons are painted in a goldish color. And you actually get some shading along this vest. So I wish they would have utilized the pinless joints, especially for this jacket. But just turning to the back, you have some scope work, sort of the flare. So I really like that. I like the tailored fit. And just looking at the pants themselves, they do have lines coming all the way down. So some really good scope work here. And just continuing to the bottom to just look at the shoes, you can see that the buckles are painted a very nice gold, which is exceptionally clean. We know that at times Hasbro can be pretty sloppy. And I like the ascot. I like how it's detailed. I think it should have been cloth, however. I think that's one component here in this that we could have got cloth. I feel that asking for a cloth coat would have been too much, essentially, for this price point. So looking at Sebastian, I am not going to go over all the details, as this is essentially the same body, the same clothing, just different colors. So I'm just going to focus on the head sculpt. And I like what we see here. I like the grin. It's the line work, again, that really gets me. And his eyes appear to be more open, so they don't look off-centered. And you turn it to the back, his hair is in a bun. You can see a tie. I thought it was some brown in there, but it is not. Okay, so now moving on to our female characters. Let's go with Jean Grey. Just want to increase the camera. Maybe I'll lift it just a little bit. So Jean Grey looks absolutely fabulous. I really like this head sculpt. It is painted exceptionally well. Really like the lip color as well as the eyeshadow. The hair is a bit too red in my opinion, almost the same color, or is the same color as the lipstick, the eyeshadow, and maybe the rose, but I have to admit it does look good. And there is absolute shadowing here. I'm not sure if it's coming out pretty good on camera, but I really like this head sculpt. I really like how the hair is done, sort of lifted into a bun with these two ends flaring out. She's also wearing a collar. If you can see that, there we go. And I think that this collar was the source of what either brainwashed her or hypnotized her. Please let me know in the comments below. The rose is done exceptionally well. Very clean paint here. Now, we should have absolutely received a cloth cape, especially given that this is an exclusive box set. I would even like to have seen this bustier in a cloth, but maybe that's too much to ask for, especially at this price point. So done very well. And now bringing Emma over. Definitely want to zoom in on that face sculpt. I think that this is a beautiful face sculpt. Everything about it. I even like the expression, sort of that serious but sexy look. The eyes look good. There's also some shading on the hair coming from a real light yellow to darker, and I can see that that's actually coming across on the camera. Again, to where an improvement could have been made. This should have been cloth, and this should have been some actual soft material, some fox fur or something along those lines. That would have truly added a great touch to this. Now, I've noticed for this figure, they sort of decreased the cleavage. I remember them being a lot larger, especially in the comics. So for design, the highlights would absolutely be the head sculpts on each of the 4 characters. Hasbro could have certainly done some more to certainly capture additional detailing such as shading throughout on each figure, as well as soft goods to where it could have and should have been implemented. So for design, I'm giving this set a 7 out of 10. So is this set essential to your collection? I'm going to put something out there. Being that this is an exclusive set and it's only one place to get it, I think that has to increase the value of this being essential to your collection. With that said, it is extremely hard to predict if we will be seeing these 4 particular characters released again. Without a question, I know that we will receive some form or version of Emma Frost. Whether it will be this one, who knows, as we have a Emma Frost that released earlier in the year, if I'm not mistaken, in her black outfit. Now, as far as for the other 3 characters, this may be the only time that we actually receive them. So choosing to pass on this exclusive set, you may be missing key figures in your collection. No question that the completionist, this is absolutely essential to your collection. For someone who just wants some of the characters, this may then also be essential because who knows if they will be re-released at some other point. So as far as being essential to your collection, I'm going to give this box set a 10 out of 10. So for functionality, let's start with Jean Grey first. And let's zoom out just a little bit. So in order to pop the head off, oh, it's not as easy as I thought. Ooh, don't like how that feels. That was extremely difficult. Okay, so with the head off, let's pop on the alternative head scope. I don't hear the pop. Okay, so that was extremely difficult to do. I would suggest heating up some water and placing this in it before trying to remove the head scope. So now let's remove one of the hands. Let's go with this one. That was much more simple. So I'm going to place one of the hands that has an open grip so I can show how the whip is used. So the way that I found the easiest to do this is simply to take the thin end, to slide that through her hand and just pull up until the thicker part of the whip actually falls in place. So that will do it for the Celine figure. Let me move it to the side and move on to Emma. So just sort of want to see how she's able to hold this. That actually works a lot better than what I thought it would. Of course, you can get it 2 poles a bit better. Now, the issue with both of these female characters is that I cannot get them to stand at all. This booted system here is simply not working. In addition to that, the leg joints right here at the knees are super loose and weak. And this is no surprise, as this is a common issue with Hasbro, not just the female characters, definitely more so on the female characters, because as you can see, their legs are a lot thinner than the male counterpart. So this here is just sort of poor quality, and it's even worse on Jean Grey. So now let's slide Donald, who just fell. The men figures stand particularly well. There's really no issue for them standing. So I want to swap out the hands, as I think the robotic hands actually go on this figure. Or metal hands. I think I prefer to say that, so that if they're not robotic, I'm not getting crushed in the comment section. And this is also difficult to remove. All right, so I had to go off camera to pop that off, and voila. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it just like this. And coming on to Sebastian, the book that he comes with is way too big to fit in this grip. It's just too big. So in order to hold it, you sort of have to fold the hands in and give him something along that lines there, but it just doesn't work particularly well. And also with this figure, as I was attempting to get him to look down while holding the book, his head doesn't come down exceptionally well. It could be the ascot, so you may want to make sure that this is pushed all the way down and then push the head down and maybe crouch him just a little bit. So now with the joints in the knees, I will not say that it's loose. There is a little bit of movement, nothing too bad. This feels pretty secure. So now moving on to another issue, we received 2 weapons. I'm going to say both are way too big for the female counterpart. So let's go on to the male figures. They don't have trigger finger hands. You can absolutely get them to hold the weapon. That's what I'm trying to do here. But there's no trigger finger on either one of the characters, on any of the hands that come included. Okay, well, maybe this one looks good here. All right. And that's simply just because of the way that this gun is. Just in case anybody was wondering, that does not work. So for functionality, there are some issues. The joints on some of these figures are way too loose. That is concerning, as I'm sure that they will buckle, bend, warp in a short amount of time. Already feel that it's happening with the female characters. Also, we don't get the correct hands for the accessories that are included. The plastic capes on the female figures are too heavy, causing them to lean more backwards, and they're already unstable. Also, it's pretty difficult to interchange heads and hands. Take my advice and boil them before you break one of your action figures. So for functionality, this is pretty disappointing. I'm going to give this set a 4 out of 10. So for pricing, this set comes in at about $80. That is before shipping, that is before tax. With Hasbro, I don't think they charge shipping for this. I do have that Hasbro VIP offering, unsure of what name it goes by. So I don't think I paid for shipping for this. So just look at taxes. This set came to about $86. So now, is it worth the price of admission? So let's see what it comes with. As far as accessories, it's pretty on a low point. I think we should have had a head sculpt for each of the characters. Instead, we only get one. What's disappointing about that head sculpt is that chances are that you want to display this character in particular as either Selena and Jean Grey, but you can't because we only have one body. Each character receives different hands, which is good. However, for the characters that need to hold weapons, we don't receive the proper hands for those characters. The draw for this set, in my opinion, are the 2 female characters. Though it would have done so much better if we had received the soft good capes, as soon as I'm able to find one, I'm absolutely replacing that on both of these figures. Now, I'm not a collector that particularly cares about the box, but I must say that this box is done exceptionally well. There's one component that I forgot to show. Let me show you that now. So for the portrait that we get here, if you turn that around, there's actually an envelope which you can open, and it's some notes here. So that's pretty cool. To stick on the box for a moment, all things with the box aren't great. It is very difficult to get these characters out of their plastic enclosing. Way too difficult. It felt as if I was warping the legs trying to take out specifically Emma Frost. The package is not collector friendly. It's going to be pretty difficult to get them back in. It was very difficult getting them out. So on my functionality part, I'm actually going to be deducting a point for that. So for pricing, essentially we get 4 figures for $80. It's the same price point as if these characters were in their own individual casing. So for that, I'm going to give this set an overall price of 10 out of 10. That should give this set an overall Cliff score of 42 out of 60. I'll make sure if that score is incorrect due to my adjustment with the functionality to correct that. So thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. I hope to see you during the next review.